What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be breaking down all of the important stats of the assault rifles in Call of Duty Ghosts. Then I'll tell you guys what I consider to be the best assault rifle in the game. If you're interested in the stats of the other weapons, make sure you stay up to date with my channel. I've already uploaded stats for the Marksman rifles, and I hope to have the rest of the weapon stats uploaded within the next week. So one thing to keep in mind with these stats is they were all collected and calculated at launch time by me personally. But I did consult a stat chart that was put together by somebody else about a week ago, so I will link that in the description, but keep in mind the stats on that chart are not all correct. Some of them are actually way off, so don't rely on it completely. So just like with the Marksman rifles, let's kick it off with one of the more important stats, which is the bullets to kill stat. The first number in the chart is the number of bullets it takes to kill at close range, and the second number is the number of bullets it takes to kill at long range. All of the assault rifles kill in 3 bullets up close aside from the MSBS, which kills in just 2, which is actually really interesting because the MSBS is also a 3-round burst assault rifle, so you only need to land 2 out of the 3 bullets in a burst up close to get a kill. So you're going to be getting lots of 1 burst kills up close with that gun. As for long range, the assault rifles that have the highest damage are the SA-805, the AK-12, and the FAD. All of these kill in no more than 4 shots. Moving on to the next stat, let's cover the rate of fire. And keep in mind, the rate of fire for the MSBS doesn't really mean much when you're comparing it to the other ones because it is a 3-round burst assault rifle. So as you can tell, the FAD has the highest rate of fire out of any of the assault rifles in the game, and interestingly enough, the SC-2010, the SA-805, the Honey Badger, and the ARX-160 all have pretty much the exact same rate of fire. But some of these values were rounded very slightly, so don't expect them to be accurate to the nearest digit. So next up, let's combine the bullets to kill and rate of fire statistics to calculate the time it takes for each one of these weapons to kill an enemy. And keep in mind this does assume that every shot hits its target. Just like with the bullets to kill, the first number is the time it takes to kill up close, and the second is the time it takes to kill at long range. One of the first things you may notice is that the time it takes for the MSBS to kill up close is much faster than any of the other assault rifles. And this is once again just due to the fact that it's a 3-round burst and it only takes 2 out of the 3 rounds to kill up close. If you land the first 2 shots, your enemy drops almost instantly. But if you need that second burst to finish off your enemy, you may be in trouble because it takes nearly half a second to fire 2 bursts, which can feel like a lifetime in Call of Duty. As for the time to kill for the other assault rifles, they are all very similar, but the FAD stands out at both close and long ranges. And the SA-805 is also a great choice all around. So now for the time it takes for these weapons to aim down sight, all of the assault rifles aim down sight in 0.3 seconds, aside from the Honey Badger, which aims down sight just very slightly faster. It's hardly even noticeable, but it is worth pointing out. For reload time, I just want to point out that I calculate this with reload cancelling in mind. So my reload times are measured from when the animation starts to when the bullets appear in the gun and are actually ready to use. And I don't calculate that extra animation at the end that can be cancelled out by sprinting or doing a double weapon swap. As you can tell, the MSBS and the Honey Badger reload the fastest, both at around 1.5 seconds, whereas the AK-12 and the FAD reload the slowest at over 2 seconds. So next up, we have magazine size, and as you can tell, almost all of the assault rifles contain 30 rounds per magazine, with the only exceptions being the FAD with a whopping 42 rounds, and the Remington R5 with just 24 rounds. So finally for stats, let's look at the detailed recoil comparison, just like we did yesterday with the Marksman rifles. And I apologize, but you may have to watch this part in 720p to get a clear view of the recoil patterns. This was just the best way I could think of to show you all of the recoil patterns at once on the same screen at the same time. And there are a lot of assault rifles, so it was kind of hard to fit everything in nicely. So the SC-2010 is one of the most accurate assault rifles in the game, and it just kicks slightly on a horizontal plane, but it's barely even noticeable. It reminds me a lot of the ACR in Modern Warfare 3. The SA-805 has a moderate amount of recoil that generally kicks up and slightly to the right. The AK-12 also has moderate recoil, and it's relatively random and hard to predict. The FAD has quite a large amount of vertical recoil with some horizontal sway, which can be really hard to predict and kind of hard to control as well. The Remington R5 has very little recoil, just like the SC-2010. It has almost no recoil at all. The MSBS kicks just a little bit, and it's very predictable. It kicks almost straight up. The Honey Badger has a very random and unpredictable recoil pattern, and it is very, very hard to predict and control at long range. And finally, the ARX 160 has a ton of vertical recoil when fired full auto, but it also has very little side-to-side sway, so it can be very easily controlled and predicted, and as long as you're firing it in bursts, it's actually a very accurate weapon. So adding these recoil descriptions to the graph, we get a clear picture to compare these assault rifles, but there is one last thing to look at, and that is the unique characteristics and add-ons for each of these rifles. As you can see, the MSBS is a 3-round burst by default, which we've already discussed. The Honey Badger has an integrated silencer, and the ARX 160 has reduced recoil for the first 3 shots that you fire, as well as an integrated laser sight for increased hipfire accuracy. Now, before we get into the best assault rifle in Call of Duty Ghosts, I just want to give you guys a quick reminder to like the video if you enjoyed it, and I actually never ask for anyone to share my videos ever, but I really would like to get this video some exposure since I did put a ton of time and effort into it. So if you wouldn't mind sharing this, I would really appreciate it. Okay, so now that we've got that over with, let's answer the question that we've all been waiting for. What is the best assault rifle in Call of Duty Ghosts? In my opinion, there are actually 2 assault rifles that come out on top. The MSBS and the SC-2010. Now, the reason I couldn't just pick one of these guns is because these guns are so different and they have their own unique advantages. The MSBS is a 3-round burst that is capable of killing enemies almost instantly at close to mid ranges, so it definitely deserves a spot on top. I couldn't leave it at just that though. The SC-2010 is an extremely versatile and accurate full auto assault rifle that I'm guessing will be a lot of people's go-to gun. Statistically, it doesn't even really stand out at all compared to the other assault rifles, but just combining all of the things together and how it actually feels, I think it's going to be possibly the best gun in the game. So now I have the same disclaimer as with the Marksman rifle video I did yesterday. Please don't blindly follow my opinion, which is based pretty much just on stats and my personal experience so far with the weapons. I really want you guys to try out and actually put some time into each and every one of these guns. Sometimes the gun that's statistically best, or the best for me, isn't the one that's going to be the best for you, so give them all a try. So that's all I have for this video. In tomorrow's episode, I'll be covering all of the SMGs in Call of Duty Ghosts. And if you missed the Marksman rifle video, there will be a link in the description, as well as an annotation link within the video just a few seconds from now. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.